Yo, live around the EcomiVerse, episode 35. We got Crypto Rain and Queen VeVe here with me today. Doctor Stuff is also coming. He's just running a bit late, so we're gonna have a beautiful, awesome, packed show today. Um, yeah, well, if you guys have been watching the Omi price, it's doing pretty well. I'm pretty excited about that. There's some people I told about Omi and they got in right at the bottom, and they're so lucky. And all they've seen is up, and it's great to have this sort of price action happening. Um, Queen VeVe, Crypto Ray, would you guys like to introduce yourselves? I'm sure pretty much everyone knows you anyway by now.
Yeah, go ahead, Queen VeVe.
I'm sorry, I missed the last of it. I was frozen out there. Go ahead,
Ray. Just if you can introduce yourself for anybody that's new watching.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I am Queen VeVe, and I host Queen's Court usually on Wednesdays. I've been on a bit of a hiatus lately, but I like talking everything VeVe and Omi.
Awesome. Rain?
What's up, everyone? Been in the crypto space since 2017. Prior to that, I did real estate investing and other types of investing for about 20 years. So I like to look at the crypto space for the investment side of it and understanding the cycles. And what I learned about investing was that there's cycles involved. And these cycles, once you understand them, can make you a ton of money when you understand them. When you don't understand them, you'll absolutely get punished by them and probably capitulate at a massive loss, and then think investing doesn't work or it doesn't work for you somehow. And it's simply understanding the cycles. And we're at the bottom of the cycle, which is a really exciting place to be. And the upswing is an extremely exciting place to be, but only when you're around for that very bottom. And so everyone that's here right now, you are, I want to say a nice word there, you are effing brilliant for being here now. And you should pat yourselves on the back for that, because most people have capitulated and left, and they're learning all about cycles the hard way instead of embracing them and benefiting from them.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good intro. So we're just having an awesome conversation today. Do you guys go for the lion drop? The Lion King?
I did. I went for it. I was not selected, but my son was, as was my husband. So we went to
nice. That's cool. Yeah. So you got a few.
The beauty of having multiple family members involved.
Exactly. There's usually never a bad day. Usually
yeah, it was I think 3 a.m. in the morning for me, so I couldn't go for it, unfortunately. I can't wait till they put in that 24-hour weight drop list feature they talked about. That's going to be a game changer.
Yeah. Really help.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think all you have to do is load up gems, and then you just, I guess, jump in 24 hours ahead, and they just auto buy it for you. And you wake up in the morning, you've got a collectible.
That will be so nice. Wake up in the morning and check things, and I got the secret rare. Woo!
Yeah, that would be so cool. That would be like the best morning ever.
Yeah, or even if you're just like, if you're working, and you say, okay, I'm going to go for it, and then you do your thing, and and then you later on that evening you can find out whether you got it or not. It doesn't you don't lose a half an hour or an hour, sitting there before, after, during. So,
yeah. These days I'm pretty selective on the drops, right? Because, as an investor, there's so many cryptos massively on sale. So I only go for a few drops. And this one was a pretty good one to go for, but I had some scheduling conflicts. Otherwise, I probably would have gone for it.
Yeah, I can't wait for some of. I think there's some anime coming. If they bring out Dragon Ball Z, that would be so good. That'd be. So
good. I will not miss that one if they roll that out.
And what do you guys think about, like, they've got a lot of really good drops they've already done before we're burning Omi with it? I feel like that's a little bit annoying, slightly frustrating. that we've got so many good drops like the Iron Man and Lion King's pretty huge. There's just so many. I know there's heaps more they've got. We just got to get that integration happening now, so people can buy bronze tickets and start betting and burning.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting when they roll that out, right? So there's a lot of cool things coming up that are really positive for the OMI token if they get rolled out like they plan to. And I think a lot of people are going to kick themselves for not understanding how massively undervalued OMI likely is at these prices. And it's not till they see the massive green candles, because there's a lot of people that are still around now and they're buying some, kind of like I was buying Todd McFarlane Batmans, but then I kick myself for not getting, like, why did I not get like 400 of them, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
I knew they were valuable, but I didn't get like 400 of them. Why didn't I do that? And there will be some people that'll be like, oh man, why did I only get 2 million OMI? I could have pulled some strings and got like 20 million OMI. And sometimes you have to go through those experiences of like, well, shoot, okay, well, dang, missed opportunity. And I can't say I have a magic crystal ball to know for sure that OMI will go up. I just really, really, really like the odds. And that's what I do in investing, is find odds that I really, really like, that I think are strategically massively favorable for me. And then I take the risks.
And the Ecomi team have been tweeting a lot, so I'm excited about that. It seems like they're ramping it up. They're really getting ready, making sure everyone's moving their OMI to layer 2. Guys, be careful. Make sure you move your OMI into mutable using the bridge first before moving it to your VeVe wallet. You don't want to lose your OMI, right? And you don't want to get it stuck in Never Land. So make sure you follow the process. But they've been posting that, I think I've seen 6 or 7 Ecomi tweets over the last week, which is great because we went from 0 for like 3 months to like 7 in a week. I think they're ramping up. So, I can't really make predictions. Like you said, Rain, we don't have a crystal ball, but maybe it's September, something's coming. I just feel like, if season 0 has to start somewhere, wouldn't it be good to start season 0 on the very start of the month, like the 1st of September? I don't know. I could be wrong. Queen VeVe, do you have any inkling for this?
Well, I am hoping you're right. My husband today actually went through, I think he watched Foster's video, and he went through, he said, he was able to go through, he was able to, stake me. I don't know what I think it was 12 million OMI or 10 million OMI or whatever you needed for the highest tier. And he said it went very well. He said it was nice to have your MetaMask loaded on your computer when you went through and did it. Obviously, like anything, he said it was a little scary, but got through it. So I am now nice and fully ready to go. So
he's got 10 million OMI in his VeVe account. Does that mean you need to now buy 10 million OMI for your VeVe account? And then your son needs to get 10 million OMI for his account. That's how it works, right? You guys all want top tier. You guys need 30 million OMI. I'm sorry about it. That's just how it is.
Yeah, we can use some more. We could use some more OMI. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but it's hard. There's so many things to balance here. Sometimes I admire Randy. Randy's a one-track mind kind of guy. He did get a little distracted lately. Everything goes OMI for Randy, but we buy collectibles. Lately we've been purchasing, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Thank you, Crypto Rain. I think, I heard your story with Cardano and a few other tokens many times. So, what do you pick? There's a lot of good stuff to choose from, especially, in a bear market, right? I mean, everything looks good compared to where we were. So, what are we all picking?
That's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are massively down in different. I like hedging my risks so that I'm not all in on one token. Randy obviously is mostly all in. And Randy's young enough, if this goes wrong, he's young, no kids, no wife.
right?
Expenses really squeezed down, right? So he squeezed his expenses, living well below his means so that he can invest as much as he can, which is a really smart move for a person of his age. And he can afford to go all in, because if it goes massively wrong, well, shoot, then. And is it likely to go massively wrong? If I were going to go all in on one project, it would be Omi. But why would I go all in on one project, right? So when I can diversify it, and there's benefits to it, because sometimes things run at different times. Now, I tend to think Omi might run before a lot of other things, and maybe I'm right on that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I'm well diversified in case things run differently, and say something else runs that I'm in and goes up 50x. And Omi's about the same place. Well, actually, I would probably sell the thing that just went up 50x and roll it into Omi, and I would be like, yes, thank you. One of the benefits of diversification, not only because I don't see how Ecomi could fail, but I realize it's a business and there's always those possibilities. So that's why I like diversification as well.
Ada's my
if I was
third
to
biggest
go
holder.
all in on another project, like it couldn't be Omi, Cardano would probably be my other one that I would go all in on. Not that I believe in going all in on a project, but I feel like the risk versus potential for loss versus the potential upside. Ecomi is my number one, Cardano number two. I have some other altcoins that I'm heavily in, but I would never go all in on them. They're just too risky of a point still. Cardano's been around for like 8 years, and it's made it through its high risk stage. Ecomi's been around for 6 years, and it's been through its high risk stage. So not that anything in the crypto space is not high risk anymore. It's just those two are lower risk than some of the other stuff I'm in. But some of the other stuff I'm in has a better chance of going 1000x if it hits just right.
Brain, have you heard of WorldCoin?
Yeah.
That's a face scanning one, right?
Yes.
Let's not talk about that one. That one's a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this idea of universal basic income. If people want to understand universal basic income, drive through the United States in an Indian reservation where they're supported. They get money just for staying on the reservation. So essentially, it's like a universal basic income, and see what things are like for their housing, see what things are like in their lives, and see if that's what you want for your future. Because I think that America has devastated the Native American population. Far worse than stealing their land from them, taking it from them, is putting them on a universal basic income. Because go by the reservations, you'll see extremely high meth rates, alcoholism rates, abuse rates. Why? Because they get paid money for doing nothing. And it's the greatest way to ruin human innovation and progress, is give people money for nothing. So this whole idea with WorldCoin, yeah, I think this takes the world in a far worse place. And though we all love the idea of being trust fund babies, really, if we were like trust fund babies, we would probably be much lesser human beings.
Yeah, we've got some interesting comments here. WorldCoin is just a little dystopian. Bullish on capitalist dystopia, buying WorldCoin.
That cracks me up. Yeah.
That's funny.
We'll see how the future plays out. I definitely like meritocracies. I wasn't born into a wealthy family. I wasn't born into wealth. I was born into the lower middle class, sometimes the upper lower class, depending on how things were going year to year for them. So it's a great place to be. It teaches you the value of like being poor and you're actually still okay. And if you want better options in your life, well, then you can work hard and get better options in your life. So I wouldn't change that background for anything.
Do you think maybe that's why we see some people who get really disgruntled, or, you know, let's just say a lot of fudders, because there's kind of that expectation, you know, if money was always there, I don't know how I want to phrase it. You know, if you never have to work for money, right? It's always there. And, you know, then all of a sudden you're being told, hey, you know, invest in this and it's going to 10x or it could 100x. Do you think that could be one of the reasons why people, you know, get so, let's just say, emotional or so passionate about when things don't kind of go their way?
Yeah, we all want this idea of easy money without having to learn how to understand.
They've never really had to experience that.
Right. So we all want to. What's funny is, so when does everybody come into crypto? Well, it's after 50Xs or 100Xs have been made. And somehow in their mind, they're like, okay, my friend just made 100X on this. I'm going to buy that. And it'll go another 100X from here because everyone's saying it's going to the moon. So we all come into crypto because some friend we know made outsized returns. And we usually buy exactly what they buy, hopefully hoping that it goes another 10X or 100X from there. And there's just economically, it's unfeasible. And so most people that come in then buy near or at the top. So what happens when you buy near or at the top? Well, it reverses on you. Right. And so then they hold on for a while and then they eventually capitulate. And so then the cycle starts all over again and it goes through the next wave. And so what we're dealing with is the public has been given access to essentially early stage venture capital investing. And most people have no background into that. So they come in after their friend made 15X or 100X or whatever, and they're like, yes. And they get the kind of education they didn't know they were going to get out of it, which is things don't go up for forever. They reverse on you. And so then they end up capitulating at the bottom and they think crypto's a scam until it then goes up again. Woo! Oh, wow. We got two legends joining us.
Hello. What's up, fam?
Wow, this is exciting.
Hi, Dashy. Oh, there we go.
So, guys, we were just talking about Queen VeVe asked a really good question, why there ends up being so much FUD at this part in the cycle. And I was just talking through how people come in essentially chasing green candles, and then they learn all about cycles. But during the hard part of the cycle, and I was about to share that few of them are smart enough to stick around, because I came in 2017. My portfolio went up and then it absolutely got wrecked to be where 20% of what I'd put in, 15,000 turned into about 160,000. And then it went down to 3,000. And, but I had seen enough cycles to realize, okay, crypto has its cycles too. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to be happy for the losses I just took because now I understand what's going on. And I'm going to stick around and dollar cost average at these lows, and end up being, financial life-changing decision. But a lot of people capitulate at these lows and they finally wash out, and then they're going to miss what's going to happen in the next year to 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. That makes a lot of sense. Randy, do you want to give yourself a little intro?
Can I do an intro? Oh, hi, I'm the real Randy Chavez. I was into Pokemon and Tesla and high-risk lending, and it was all gravy until I found NFTs and crypto. And I know that makes it sound bad, even though it has been bad the last couple of years. But like Rain said, that's not selling at the top is a very expensive tuition. And then you learn, oh, hey, bull markets don't last forever, but neither do bear markets. And it seems that based on the audiences that I've had, the amount of DMs I get and audience members I get, it seems like we are kind of on the uptrend where we are now going to have that little recovery. Who knows? We could have another Black Swan event. I don't think anything could be as bad as Russia going into and invading Ukraine, which kind of kicked off this originally. But I'm very excited, and dollar cost averaging all the way down.
Woo! Dr. Stuff. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, yeah. So I'm a crypto and stock trader, and have a background in financial analysis and financial regulation, and been in the crypto space for a couple of years now. But before I was actually in the crypto space, I did a lot of research about the crypto space for the banking sector, right? And as they were nervous as to what was going to be coming into the space and things. But it was through talking to Crypto Rain. Crypto Rain is who convinced me to really jump into VeVe first, really. VeVe and then Omi, and then the rest of crypto. Because I didn't have such a good experience with ETH when I first purchased ETH. Because I wasn't familiar with the cycles. That was type of research I've done on crypto. So yeah, but I'm here. I've been VeVe fan since March of 2021, and love every second of it. So
Awesome. Thanks so much. This is such a great panel. I'm really excited for this show today. Like this is one of my highlights of my week, guys. I don't know if you guys feel the
I
same
love
way.
it.
Yeah, it's really fun. I was thinking a lot about it because what do you guys ask me? Am I going to do this when Omi goes to the moon and I've made millions of dollars? I think I'll definitely still do this just for fun. I mean, it's not like it makes me any money right now anyway. But you know, it may in the future. If Omi and VeVe blew up, it could make something. But yeah, this show is just so much fun. I love talking to you guys. What do you guys think is the next step for VeVe and Omi?
Well, I say following through on the things that they've already promised us. like that's the next step, and they're doing that, right? But like, I think we need to see, and we've already had an article on Omi utility, so let's actually see that rolled out, right? It's great to see the article, but let's actually see that implemented. And then what are the other things? The Omi to NFT. I think the next one that they talked about is bronze tickets that are coming.
Yeah.
That's the next on the list, right? And then also Ecomi had said that they responded to VeVe Viral about purchasing Omi in the app and how big they feel that would be massive for Omi. That would be massive for Omi. I can't tell you how many
That'd be huge.
hours I've spent walking through with people how to purchase Omi on like an exchange, right? I mean, and that's just purchasing Omi on layer 1. Now, if you want to get it into the app, right, it's like a whole nother process. And so that in and of itself, being able to purchase layer 2 Omi on the web app will be a complete game changer. So those are the two things for me when you say like next step, like obviously, and then hey, if along the way with that utility comes some other, exchanges, I wouldn't be sad.
Woo! I'm excited.
I think that you have the planned stuff, like Dr. Stuff had mentioned, but then you have the unplanned things where every now and then sometimes high-hanging fruit becomes low-hanging fruit. Back in the day, we originally had the Hello Kitty license, and then we had lost it to Recur. But now the license is up for grabs, and we could go and not just get them, but Nickelodeon, and we can go and get the stuff that we had in the past. And again, we don't have to buy the Recur platform. We don't have to buy the contracts. We could just get the IP to go back the truck up and then move it into the VeVe. So I would like, that'd be such a baller move. I would love to see that type of thing where they go and do something like that.
So Gabe Vincent sent me a super chat. Thanks for that. But it says he can't load collectibles or put in market. Has something to do with settings on his phone. It might. Has he verified with the KYC? Right, because he can't load collectibles, put them in the market.
Yeah, so KYC could definitely be thing. But if he has collectibles, I would assume that, I guess depending on how long ago he bought them. But oh yeah, so there's that also. Like I had a buddy of mine that was telling me that like the join waitlist button has not appeared for him for the last 2 drops. So like I'm just wondering though, Gabe, you might try if you haven't already, deleting the app and then reinstalling it. That has actually cleared up. I've had multiple different errors, like, and each error was cured by doing that. So just a recommendation. I'm not a dev.
I just started happening today. Yeah, definitely uninstall the app, reinstall the app, log out, log in, just all that basic stuff. If that doesn't help, then I guess support ticket. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the super chat anyway. And Omicron's asking about the reliability of the drops. They're still pretty new to the waitlist drop, so yeah, there are some errors at the moment. What's through the errors? I'm sure there's a bunch of different reasons.
Well, I think yesterday's was due to the fact that they changed it by a minute, and so when they moved it, like that's my guess, anyways. That just like moving it that 1 minute, that there was some sort of timing glitch that like maybe like I don't know, right? But That's at least what made sense to me in my head as I was like they did change something, the timing of that drop. And I think originally it had been set for that 9. And so there might be an automated system. So just changing it to 901 could have changed something in the code that just kind of glitched it out, which, look, I mean, I'm glad that they pushed it back, but at the same time, like I was able to get into the wait list. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to land this drop. And I did not land it today. So I'm glad people got it. I was not able to get Simba, unfortunately.
It looks like it might be a problem with the latest update on Android because some other people are having problems. I have Android. I haven't updated my app yet. I have all my updates on manually just so I don't get stuff ups like that when they happen. I like to update a little bit later. Sometimes they fix it. So maybe they have to fix something up. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's Randy, how are you feeling about the Omi price? I think we're up 3% now for the day. You're muted. You're muted. Randy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I talked a little bit about it this morning on stream. I haven't taken a look at it today, but yeah, up 4.3% on the day. And this is with $868,000 in volume. So again, what happens when we have 100 million? Do we 100x? No, but do we do like a 10x? I think we can. And I'm not saying we get 100 million just based on one exchange. I think it'll just be slow and steady, but I think we do get there at some point. Like Crypto Rain's most recent short video, everyone in the world will be talking about Omi at some point. I love that short video. But yes, very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, cool. I haven't seen that, Rain.
Yeah, one of my Rainmaker family members put that short together. The video behind it was basically an interview with Randy and I, and he clipped it in a small digestible piece.
All right, cool. Well, yeah. So Gabe has tried to uninstall, didn't fix it, so he's getting to the team. Well,
one thing I do like about Omi, right? So obviously everyone here is probably pretty excited about it, but I think of everything as an investment and risk versus rewards. And what's cool to me about Omi, and one of the reasons it's one of my favorites, one of the reasons why if I were to go all in, it's the one that I would pick to go all in on, is it has this weird potential to reach meme coin status, where what you see in crypto is there's very few crypto projects that are first buys to people. So I have a friend that knows nothing about crypto, but what does he have? He has Shiba Inu. Like, why the hell do meme coins often be the first things that people buy? What's crazy is even though Omi wasn't on any of the big exchanges whatsoever, for many people, it was their first buy in crypto. And that says something about the project. It was one of the most difficult ones to get their hands on. Like, one of the reasons people buy Shiba Inu is, say they have a Robinhood account and they can buy Shiba fairly simple because their friend told them about it. But to have something that was very difficult to get last cycle when it was running up, and yet many people, it was their first buy in crypto, and the difficulty was so high, and yet it still was their first buy. There is something special about that. And so they have also been like cash flow or revenue positive during this bear market. So many things right. And imagine we go into the next cycle and they're on bigger exchanges. It's easier to get. And it is often people's first buy. You can see remarkable things from the price action again. And so that's what I'm hoping comes together. And it probably will.
Awesome.
So
Queen VeVe.
yeah, I'm sorry. I keep going in and out. So just like kick me off if I interrupt or if I do something or I don't mean to. I just keep hearing and I keep going in and out. I don't.
Yep, it's freezing up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Oh,
What's now that the metaverse, it's actually out there. Now that the metaverse is actually out there, have you guys had a chance to step back and or think about what does this now mean when we heard David say VeVe is going to be the gift shop? Have any of you guys thought about that and now thought about what that means, or have some kind of idea in your head what that means to you now?
Yeah, like it's such a great idea. When he said that, it blew my mind because I just tried to think of the possibilities and how all this VV thing that is our whole world, right, is just like the gift shop at the end of the experience. And if you think I go into like Disneyland or one of those sort of places, and we don't have Disneyland in Australia, but we have we have what's called Warner Brothers and a whole bunch of others similar. The whole experience is everything, and at the end, you pick up what you like, what you to remind yourself of that experience you had. And I think for me that really resonates. That the VV experience in VeVeverse could be so much more than just collectibles. It's I think we know the community is huge, and if they can do really fun experiences on top of that, like it's gonna be wild. What do you guys think?
I hope the VeVeverse is huge. I can't say we know it's going to be huge, but I hope it is. Our first two experiences with metaverses in the crypto space are somewhat of a disappointment. The number of users there per day is really, really low. Now, when crypto goes crazy, you'll see more people come in again, but they don't have any special experience. I hope that the VeVeverse has people in it, and I suspect it will because their showrooms right now are kind of like a mini VeVeverse, and people spend hours and hours building their showrooms out a certain way. And if they can then let other people into their showrooms, I think it'll get possibly even more traction than Decentraland and Sandbox. And I hope it comes together that way. But I would have to rate it that it might play out that way.
So one thing I think of, and it's interesting because it kind of sparked up and then it's died down. But a lot of the VeVe fam, for a while, they were meeting up in VR, right? And hanging out in VR together. But it was in like spatial, or it was in these other things. But I think it'll be different when it's the actual VeVeverse, because spatial, it's just different, right? And they didn't have like they could port over some of their stuff and some of their images and stuff from VeVe, but it wasn't like the VeVeverse. But they still tried it, and they went strong for a while, right? Now that was a smaller group of people, but if it's if it's just on the web app and you can do that and it's super easy, I can absolutely start seeing where like we have around the EcomiVerse, right? Or we're streaming from the VeVeverse, like for our channel, and that more people are doing that. And it's like, hey, come into my space as I'm streaming, and my avatar will be there. So like, I think that there's a lot more opportunities to try to continue to build that community, because that's what Sandbox and Decentraland didn't have. And we talked about this. I was talking with Foster Hill, just like with Recur, they had IP, they had money, but they didn't have community, right? Same with Decentraland. They had Snoop Dogg. He had a house there, and people came in, but like a lot of it was like people chasing just like the money from the NFTs, right? And people still do that in VeVe. I say that I invest in VeVe collectibles. I do think that there's potential for long-term value, not financial advice. It's just like how I think. But there's also collectibles that I just buy because I freaking love them, and it's nostalgic for me. And like I don't think that I will be able to ever sell them, and. So when I combine that with, now I can take that into a space and hang out with other people, and just share our love of these collectibles, like in this community. That's what I think that still has potential. There's always risk, right? Nothing is guaranteed, but I feel like it has such a stronger chance compared to anything else that's come out before, because the community has already been built. And Steve Jobs once said in an interview, he was like, you need to build the community first and then create the technology around the community, right? And if you think about Apple, right, and they're just like staunch Apple fans, and it doesn't matter if Apple did anything wrong. They're like, I don't care. I love Apple, and I will never do anything else. And that's what Steve Jobs did, right? And so like, I think that's the same thing with VeVe, is that we just got this epic community that's been built around. And because we've talked about this like on Foster's. And I've seen this like Randy, I watch your streams, I watch Rain's, like I come to Twitter Spaces with Queen VeVe, right? Like we're all on, like the content creators support each other on their own channels and things, right? What other community does that? And so if you have that strong of a tight-knit community, I think that that's where with the VeVeVerse, there's just an added layer of more intimate than just 2D. Now it can be 3D with collectibles. That I just think that it has a great chance of succeeding. And then, sorry, just one other thing to answer your question, in VeVe about like, what are the possibilities of it being kind of like the gift shop is my kids are constantly asking me to show them that Spider-Man, right? And the T-Rex, and actually like the newest Jurassic Park, the Dilophosaurus, or however you pronounce that, right? They love that stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? Like I need to just set up an account for them. That's their collectibles, you know? And that's where, like, what about the gift cards? What if you can then go and buy gems or Omi gift cards in stores? So when we're talking about fidgetals and things like that's the next progression. You already have Pudgy Penguins going in, and you can buy a Pudgy Penguin, scan the tummy, and get the NFT. Like that's out right now, right? So like, why can't you get gift cards of Omi or gift cards of digital collectibles that just are, you just have a code and it gets on there. So definitely could be the gift shop of Web3. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Randy, what do you think?
Go ahead, Randy. Oh.
I have a long-winded response. I want to let Queen VeVe go first.
I do too. I kind of
No, mine was long-winded too, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
Okay. So first off, that's adorable that you could scan their tummies and get like, that's so freaking cute. Pudgy penguins. I hope they do something with rocks, you know, with pebbles and penguins, and that's how they made. Anyway, so Mr. Beast once did a stream of a YouTuber Minecraft battle royale, and it was just one video. It happened to get a couple 100 million views, you know, no big deal. But ever since then, that private server, people still go in there hoping that he'll come back. They still go in there hoping that he'll one day return, like the freaking Lorax or something. And I feel like all a big streamer has to do is just do something in the VeVeVerse once, and like, oh, you see, Daniel Radcliffe was here, you know, Taylor Swift was here, like, you know, they might come back one day, and you just have people go to that place over and over again. So there's going to be a lot of, and they talked about super early revenue share. You know, we already get it on YouTube because we have, let's say every 1,000 people watch a video, you make like $10. I mean, if you have like a game where you don't need to be there, or if you make something that you could script and it's constantly people there, you know, you should be able to share in that revenue. But for the gift shop, I mean, if they go and they have games or VeVeVerse, let's say you have a race, let's say they're able to go and take that Metaverse Life video of all the cars racing with the Lambos and Chucky and Thor. Let's say they have that as a mini game, and then they say like, okay, well, this race is so close to call, it's a photo finish, and then you have a snapshot of that, and let's say you can you make that into an NFT, and that might not mean anything to anyone else. Like it's when you go on a ride at Disney and you come down the log flume or a roller coaster and the picture goes off. Nobody else is going to want to buy that picture because it's of random people. I hope not. But you're going to want to buy it for you. So let's say and you have to pay like an extra $10, $20 for that photo. Let's say in the VeVeVerse, you make that NFT, you know, a photo finish. Hey, remember when I won this? Remember when I did this? I was like, go, hey, here's something to put in your room. It's a 1 of 1 or 1 of 10, however many people want it. I guess I'll let you mint how many you want. Maybe that's what they mean. But as far as this one, David did that Binance interview a few months ago and said that he wanted to incorporate ChatGPT into the VeVeVerse. So let's say you have someone that, you know, maybe is kind of new to the community, or maybe someone that maybe doesn't care about the community, but they really love Captain America. And instead of having an NPC with like 3 different lines, they have ChatGPT and Captain America, and you can go and talk to Steve Rogers, ask him about World War II, ask him about, you know, his mom, Sarah, ask him about things that they don't cover in the movies that much. To wrap this all up, I was talking with, or I was just talking to myself. It was on the gold and silver VeVe logo chat. I feel like attacked after stuff.
I was just talking about stuff.
Yeah, I started off on a video and then I put it in the golden silver logo chat saying like, hey guys, think about when people are going to want this as an investment, and this will go for the VeVeVerse as well. If you go and you want something for investment, there's many things that you can get. There's a whole bunch of different grails. But if you go get that gold and silver logo, you guys have all been to an event except for you, Jordan. Like you've been to Comic-Con, you've been to DCon, and it's a different event. Like the energy is just awesome. And it's, unless you've played like high school football or been like military or been some type of team where you're super close, that type of feeling is almost invaluable. Like, people pay to get that type of feeling all the time. And people will associate that good feeling with the VeVeVerse, with this crowd. And what better way to go and try to, get that serotonin dump. If you can't make it to an event, okay, well, I'll do the metaverse. And I think some people might get addicted to that feeling, and then they might not sell certain things because maybe there's only places like Gold and Silver logo parties they can get in with that. And there might be something like that in the VeVeVerse as well. Only places you can go with certain NFTs. And that's my super long-winded response. I'm sorry that was so long.
No, that's fine. That's awesome. Queen VeVe, what do you want to say?
No, I just like when I see it's playing out. I guess if you go back 2 years or whenever you guys got in and you started to think about what could be, or imagine if, and then also it's into a token, it just seems like there's a lot of things that are playing out. You know what I mean? Imagine if we could actually, have homes and castles, and imagine if we could do this. And, back then there was a lot of talk about what you can do. Are we going to be partnered with Disney? And, is there going to be, metaverses inside the VeVeVerse, etc. So, I just feel like from 2 years ago, they're doing exactly what they're said. They're,
100%.
they said they were going to do. We're watching it. Yes, it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit painful, because it seems like time is, in crypto time, it's just totally different. It feels like it's been 20 years, but it really hasn't been that long. And, I just feel like now we're finally seeing, they said the wait list was important. The wait list was the key. And I feel like now that they're getting that wait list dropped, they're going to be able to do a lot more things with giving rewards and using the
Rugged.
Wow.
You there,
everything
Queen VeVe?
moving forward.
It cut you off.
Yeah. That I lose. I guess bottom line is, I just say I'm seeing everything come to fruition in this metaverse, where you may have some Disney things going on. You may have some other label, other IP going on, all these various transactions, all the things you can do. Eventually it's all going to be an Omi. And I
100%.
just see it. I just see it moving down that pattern. It's not there yet. We're at the precipice, but if they start getting, the wait list down and some of these other things, next we see, tickets, we're going to see the tickets come out, and, they're doing it. It's just taken some time to get to that point. And it seems like they're just right there at the edge. And things are starting to move in that direction, where I could see, VeVe being the gift shop, if you will, and all the exchanges, etc., going through the Omi token in some or another. So I think it's on the tipping point.
That's a really, really good point. I just want to point out a couple of things. We got 130 people watching, guys. 130.
This is growing, man. This is growing.
That's
I
the
love
most
it.
I've ever had on here. I also want to point out this comment from VeVe fans. He's testing the beta of the VeVeVerse right now on one screen while listening to us on another screen. So, and he's basically saying he agrees with Dr. Stuff. Everyone will have the ability to go into one space. And that's so cool that he gets to watch around the EcomiVerse while playing the VeVeVerse. Like that's making me jealous, but also excited.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So we do have a update from VeVe saying the waitlist issue was not because of the extra minute, but because the cloud servers didn't scale, and it has been fixed. So we good to go.
Do you reckon they were listening to us? Because we literally talked about that. Earlier.
No, I wasn't listening. I was not. I wasn't listening though.
No, check this out. So like I was on my live stream with Foster, we were talking about the OUP, and Puddin' Cheeks like made a comment in the chat, and then DMing, and he was basically like, we're always watching. We don't always comment, right? They're always watching us. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, I love it. Like, that's great. They got their ear to the ground, right? Listening to the community, which is awesome. That is so cool. Yeah.
So what's interesting about this evolution going on with, what's going to happen with the VeVeVerse is, I think we can fairly say we don't know. We hope it's good, but here's what I like about VeVe, both the collectibles and the Omi token. What happens if the VeVeVerse itself doesn't end up being a big deal? Well, I think everything still does really well. Why? Because like there's so much cool going on with some of the best IP. I think digital collectibles are going to take over the world for collectibles, right? The collectors are going to go to something they don't have to store all over their house in empty spare bedrooms and stuff. And so digital collectibles is the way things are going, and VeVe and Ecomi are perfectly positioned for that. Now, should the VeVeVerse be a big deal? Well, then it just goes way bigger. Like, that's why as an investor, right? Like, Omi makes it so I can't sleep at night thinking, gosh, man, this is like a rocket that could go really far. Like, how far it'll go, I don't know, but like, it's got great potential.
I think one of the things that we really need to happen, or not need, it'll happen eventually. My friend Tom told me a story from like 10 years ago when his friend's wife was going into labor, and he and now this wasn't their first kid, it was like their second or third, but he's in there and the nurse lady's about to give her child back, and she's like, all right, hold on, I have to like finish this Facebook status, like I have to post this Facebook status. So he immediately goes for something like, dude, we got to invest in Facebook. And the similar things have happened here. Like my friend's law office, kind of like shuts down at 11 o'clock so they can do the job. And I think once the right people see that and just how distracted people get from these, that's where people are like, oh, we got to get in this hard. It's only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I think the collectibles, especially certain ones that are like legendary IP, as well as the Omi token, gosh, I just like the percentage chance that they do well. And part of the reason too is this family that they built, or this community that they built, is stronger than most communities in all of crypto.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
It's like the perfect storm as investors that I've been waiting for, right? It's awesome. Last bear market,
Right,
Omi was much more of a risk. This bear market, I just evaluate it much less of a risk.
We've got a question here from Marco asking, is any law regulation on selling Omi on app delaying the Omi NFT? So, yeah, I think Apple don't allow any cryptocurrency transactions inside the app right now. I don't think Android has the same restrictions. And obviously they can just do web app for now. So eventually you'll be able to buy Omi inside the web app. And maybe, buy and sell things with Omi in the web app. But it would be great if Apple changed their policies so that we can have Omi transactions everywhere.
Either that or the Tesla phone comes out and takes over the phone space, and bye-bye Apple.
That would be so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking the Tesla phone, right? I looked at the specs and everything. Are they going to make it? Anybody have any updates?
Yeah, it's probably still down the road a while.
Yeah, he needs to have a lot more satellites in the sky. I think there's like 1,000 of there now. Like there needs to be like a ton to get world coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, they can just share other networks as well for now. They got the money.
That's true.
Have you guys seen the robots? The Tesla robots they're building?
Optimus Prime.
Yeah, they're unreal. And basically, all the robots they're making, they just didn't have the components anywhere existing, so they're making a lot of the components for it. Like even just the motors, like even little motors and stuff, they just didn't have ones that were good enough. So Tesla are literally like inventing this robot from ground up. It's gonna be insane.
So I have a question. I might have not brought it up before. Speaking of Tesla, they have Tesla insurance, which is going to absolutely disrupt the insurance game. Now that we've had a couple of downfalls, whether it's Nifty's, Recur, whatever, and people are kind of worrying about their stuff. Now, for Recur, I know that you're able to go and get it off, but on your own wallet. Do you think VeVe should go and say, hey guys, what about NFT insurance for your NFTs? And obviously they'll never have to pay out because nothing's ever going to happen. but it's just a big revenue stream, like $1 billion revenue stream that I think they can go and do.
But that's Bump, isn't it? Create Crypto Rain. Is that basically what Bump does? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Rain,
Rain, you're muted.
So Bumper probably won't go the route of insuring your NFT collectibles, but Bumper is creating a different type of product to insure against crypto losses. It's neither insurance nor is it an option. It's kind of like this hybrid in between that was never created and needed smart contracts to come into the existence to be able to be possible. And so it's a new innovation that essentially you can insure against massive reversals for a much cheaper cost than insurance would give you or using options would give you. So will that work with NFTs? I don't know. But what I love about Elon Musk is he's a true innovator, and he goes in and he solves problems in ways nobody had ever thought about before. And so, like, it'll be fun to see what he continues to disrupt.
Well, I've heard they're going to add crypto in X or Twitter. Sorry, Dr. Stuff?
I think that's been his goal since 1990, before crypto was even invented, right? But he talked about digital currencies and stuff way back then with his goal for X.com. And now he just had to wait for it to be invented. I think he's way more involved in crypto than what he lets on.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm just going to, Jordan, I just want to jump in before we get too far off of that question from Marco about laws and regulations on selling OMI on apps. So there's obviously the Apple App Store or Android App Store, right? And then there's the web app. And there's a couple different things, right? So like through the web app, Epic Games won a pretty significant decision against Apple, right? Not too long ago, basically saying that Apple has to allow these developers, these apps, to direct users to a third-party payment if they so choose, right? Because that creates a monopoly otherwise. Mm-hmm. So that was ruled. Now, however, there's been a decision. This judge has halted the implementation of it for now, just like paused it with no explanation given as to why she's paused it, which is interesting. But like, yeah. I mean, like, obviously that's sus. But that's coming. On top of that, though, even if it's on the web app, VeVe doesn't want to be the one providing you the OMI, right? So they would, because they would be considered an exchange at that point if they are selling you OMI, and they don't. I highly doubt they want to get into that. So what they'll probably do is set up with a third party, right? And it could like a MoonPay or something like that, and because that already exists, where it's just like, oh, I want to buy this crypto. You use your credit card, and then you're just sent that crypto to the app. Anyways, there aren't necessarily like laws and regulations prohibiting it. The Apple Store doesn't want them to do it, and they're stopping that. But from the web app, the laws and regulations are really around like exchanges, right? And becoming like, if they don't do it through a third party, becoming a licensed exchange, which they don't want to do. So it's just going to take some time for them to build out those mechanisms, but it's coming. Like that's the thing is, I'm just so excited, guys. I'm so excited with all they're building. It's so crazy to see. They have over 100 employees. How many projects can say that they're growing right now? Almost none of them, except for Crypto Walkers. I have to give a shout out to Crypto Walkers. I tweet about them. I freaking love that. That's an indie game that is going to be coming out. You should check out Crypto Walkers if you haven't. Just to see some of their clips from their video game that they are building. It looks so much fun. I cannot wait to play that game. But in general, VeVe is just building out this team, and they are like finally delivering on a lot of promises they've made. And that just makes me bullish. Like, okay, now we can look at all the ones that promises they've made that haven't yet come to pass. And now I feel like I can start saying, well, I expect these to now be implemented in the near future. Like, well, short to midterm, right? It's just bullish. Pumped.
So when you said like crypto pay, like something like MoonPay, you mean something like Alibaba's Alipay that we just kind of had an agreement with? I know they haven't officially announced Alipay, but I'm just reading the writing on the wall.
I'm going to be doing a little video on that actually this week, diving deeper into that relationship with just Ali Cloud. But what happens if it's Alipay, which David basically said this is like a foot in the door for like payment systems in Asia, which Alipay, right, and WeChat type things. And I'm going to give a little bit more insight and detail because I did a lot of research on Alipay when I was looking into China's central bank digital currency and how that could be rapidly spread across the world using Alipay. So anyways, yeah, I was going to do a video on that later. But yeah, you're right, man. Like MoonPay / Alipay could be wild. Could be wild.
Well, I have to stop and take a second here and tell everybody watching, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to everyone that's here. Queen VeVe doesn't have YouTube yet, but she's on Twitter. So make sure you follow her on Twitter. And Crypto Rain, Real Randy Chavez, and Dr. Stuff all have YouTube channels. What was that, Laurie?
I said at Laurie Brenner 13. Yep.
Yes. Yep.
So
you guys, it's linked in the description as well.
Thank you. So Randy, with Recur and what's happening, are they actually allowing you to take them and put them in your ledger? No, is that kind of the end result? I know they're shutting down November 23rd. So is this like first true ownership of an IP?
Yeah, they said you were able to. I don't like if somebody tried and they couldn't, I feel like we would have really heard about that, but apparently you can.
Yeah.
And actually some banks, it'll be different on each bank. They're actually letting you go and get a partial refund on the passes as well. So you can go and actually get some money back if you have some passes. Now, I'm not going to say that if you bought like a pass with a super cool mint number for like $3,000, you're gonna get half of that back. But I think half of like the original 300, I think you're able to.
Have you guys seen this rumor here from Mars Davis? Rumors are VeVe Digital Collectibles will be 3D printable if you own the NFT. That would be so cool.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Secret utility.
That'd be way cool. You would get the layout then to be able to print that. That could be way cool.
Wow.
That would be awesome.
What do you guys think about this desk? Do you think, today we had another drop, another pencil. You guys think it's just a desk? Is it just a desk?
I'm going to say yeah. And I say that only because Disney, at least to date, does not surprise us, right? They have, as opposed to like DC or artists where there's just like, airdrop for like the set holders or something like that. Disney has been like, we are telling everyone up front what the utility is. If you buy this, you get the pencil. Then you can burn the pencil for the desk. So like I'm still going for it. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's cool. Like I just think of Walt Disney, and I just imagine him like at this, this artist desk here creating Mickey Mouse, and so to me it's more like I want it for that aspect than like if there's any utility, which that's just me. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it though.
So I've seen the pencils. So why do you guys think there's going to be a desk? Is there more information?
That's the airdrop. If you can craft, you get each of the pencils, you can craft the desk.
You got to burn the pencils in that crafts.
Yeah,
from each. And there's how many pencils?
5.
Okay. It has to be more than a disc then. They can't just give you a disc.
The thing that I'm curious about is for Thanos, people lit about $1,300 on fire, of Infinity Stones to get that secret rare Thanos, and they're selling them for like 400. So either one of two things will happen. Either people are just like, oh, I'm not going to do that again. They're going to keep their pencils. Very few of those desks will be minted, in which case, let's say the pencils are an average $30, $150. You have to light on fire for a desk. Then people will learn and be like, okay, maybe the desks go for $200. Or people have not learned a goddamn thing, and they'll go and burn it for $150. All of them secret rares. And then the desk will be going for like $80. So I'm really curious to see what happens there.
Hey, we have a comment here from Mr. MC1. He says that VeVe has secret projects that only 2 or 3 people know about in the company. David said that in a French VeVe interview. So that's pretty cool. That's Maybe there's some cool stuff
It's
we
exciting.
don't know about.
Stay ahead.
What was that?
Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I know Disney can't. I think it's like in their contracts they can't go and do utility retroactively. Marvel can. Marvel does that all the time with the Mighties, or they used to. They don't say that there was going to be an airdrop and then they would give you one. So it's nice to see a little bit of difference between them. I don't think any of the pencil crafting has anything to do with anything secret. The secret, I don't know what they are. Ideas?
Crypto Cookie has an idea here. Burn all 5 pencils. A disc becomes animated, draws the characters from all the drops onto a pad that sits on the disc. That's a cool idea.
That would be epic. That would be
Awesome.
So cool. That would be,
That would be
so
pretty cool. Yeah.
I feel like
I
that
see
would
that
be
working.
pretty hard. That'd be pretty hard animation. But man, if they pulled something like that, that would. Randy, what are you doing, bro? You okay? What's
No,
happening with your face?
So this is like the most like I've hurt my back 2 times beforehand, and like kind of badass ways. One was doing squats, and one was like a car accident. But I heard it yesterday playing pickleball, and it's the exact same pain. I don't know what it is. I'll be fine in a few weeks, but right now I'm kind of just hoping that these make the pain go away, or I could just go and take like a forever nap. Either one is fine with me. But yeah, I can't sit down, so I'm standing. That's why I look like a freaking golden retriever, like looking at you from.
Randy, somebody said you look like an angel with you've got the fan on behind
the
you.
fan up and the lights, and it's just like
You got the fan and the light flickering. Yeah, you look a bit like an angel.
Praise be unto thee, my children.
Oh, we lost Queen VeVe.
No.
That's right. She might be back. Alrighty. And we've got some more comments. Rico, don't let a crisis go to waste. How about VeVe bringing those NFTs onto the VeVe platform? That would be cool. Just a crazy idea.
I mean, they'll be in the VeVeVerse. If we're gonna have interoperability for them to come to us, then yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So Rico can make a reappearance in VeVe or VeVeVerse.
So when the OMI goes up, how much of percentage-wise, how much of y'all's OMI is going to go into land?
I haven't thought too much about the land, but Rain has had great success with land before. So I mean, I bought Illuvium land, and I don't know if it's done much.
So land is all about timing, right? So it's about scarcity, desirability, and timing. Those 3 things. So how scarce is it going to be? We don't know the answer to that. Desirability, we can make some good guesses at that. So then there's the timing. So if it launches in the middle of the bull market going crazy, well, then whoever is able to get it on the drop or get it right away, it'll go up a lot from that price. Hopefully they launch it while things are really still small. So it'll be like slow. So it'll be easy to pick up a bunch of it. Of course, we'll have to factor in what is the scarcity. Also, what is location? How does the location play out in the VeVeVerse? Location is important in real estate, right? So it'll have some of the properties of real estate, but then it has to do with like real estate. People think real estate only goes up, and it has everything to do with where the location is, because there are parts of like United States or Canada that nobody wants land in. Land hasn't gone up in those areas for forever. In fact, sometimes it goes down. These small towns that have a coal plant, and the coal plant gets shut down, land becomes almost worthless. And so it's like if the VeVeVerse gets lots of attention, and I imagine it will, but I can't say I know, and land ends up having desirability, the investment side could be crazy on returns. And so, Jordan, Randy, Dr. Stuff, and some other people will buy some land and rent it out and put up advertising. Or we'll see how it plays out, right? So a lot of people think, oh, in the VeVe or in the metaverse, I'm going to get some land and put up advertising and billboards. And it really has to do with how many people are going to be in that actual metaverse and how many people are going to go buy your spot as to whether it even has good potential for a billboard having any value. Because in order for you to make money on renting out the billboard, well, there has to be a sponsor who sees value in putting their stuff on it. In order for that to be the case, you have to have lots of traffic going by it. So
lots of
We'll
users.
see how that plays out.
So you don't even need to have something really cool on your plot of land. You could just have a neighbor that just has like naked Super Bowl parties, and then you just have like a billboard on your front lawn and be like, oh yeah, I want to see this all day.
Randy, why are you so pixelated?
I don't know. We're in the Matrix. I don't know.
I can hear you, but I can't. But I can hardly see you. That's all right. We've got a question here from Davey Boy asking about an OMI price prediction when Asia is onboarded and OMI's burning 24/7. Randy, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what utility we have at the time. If we just have the OMI to waitlist tickets, which I think is going to be super amazing, and let's say just Japan is onboarded, I don't know. We lose a zero, definitely. We'll probably lose a zero before then, maybe 002. But all of Asia's onboarded, wind the clocks forward like a year, 2 years. I mean, David said on the last interview he wants 1 million active users in 3 years. So let's go super conservative. Let's say he gets half of that in 3 years. That's 500,000. Okay, well, half of that in 2 years would be 250. Half of that would be next year. We have 125,000 people. And even if most of those people are like kind of working paycheck to paycheck, but they could afford a collectible once a week or twice a month, that still leaves the 1% in this capitalist society we have, that still leaves over 1,000 people that are making 400K a year plus. They can afford to throw in thousands, tens of thousands, and this doesn't mean anything. So I think what they could do is they could go and they see different drops that they want, or drops that their kids would want, or their wives, whatever it is. You could see this go up to all-time highs next year very, very quickly. And that's just with next year, which is about 12.5% of what David actually wants in 3 years. So it gets me very excited.
Woo! We've just got a comment here from Johnny Dunn saying, "What's up, fam? I think in the desk will have different animations, drawings on them. There may be a pencil still and can draw, paint pictures on your desk in the VeVeverse. That would be pretty cool." And Beer Man says, "Just keeping the alcoholics happy today."
That's funny. That's funny.
My bad.
Rain, what's your? I know we don't normally do price predictions too much anymore after all the craziness. But Rain, what would you think next year we might get to?
For the OMI token?
Yeah.
See, what's so hard is so it's kind of like there's so many moving targets. Like, what is it going to be like next year? Well, we don't even know when the bull run is going to be for sure. And so we're having to guess, there's so many variables there. So what could the OMI token be at next year? Probably 10 times what it's at now. And I think in the peak, it goes much higher than that. But, so what would that be at? We're at, so it would be like 0.6 cents or maybe 0.8 cents is my guess for a year from now. And that's without the greater bull market hitting. I just think the pendulum sometimes swings too far to the upside and too far to the downside. We've been in this beautiful period that the pendulum has been too far to the downside, which is an investor. I love that period. And I love the part that comes next when it starts swinging the other way, because then you're like, man, I did really good. I bought while it was cheap, and now it's not so cheap. And I'm liking the way this feels. But that period only feels really good when you did stock up when it was really cheap.
For sure, for sure. Hey, I actually have some news. I don't know if Patient Hodler cares if I share or not, but he's buying more OMI, guys. We got Patient Hodler buying more OMI at 0008. You guys know that's some bullish sentiment right there. Dr. Stuff, what do you think about the price for next year?
So, I agree. I'm getting more bullish. I think one of the things that I've really liked, right, is they made this announcement, and the price pumped, and then there was a big sell, right, this controversial sell for a little bit, and it dipped the price, but it rebounded pretty hard, right, and it's coming and it's staying at a higher low now, which is really interesting. And I think what's happening is there's more and more people that are still trying to get to that 10 million to get into the app, right, and they're just kind of waiting, and I think that we'll continue to see that, right. People are like a lot of people have like a budget, like a monthly budget of what they can spend, right? So they're like, well, I'm definitely buying more. I need to buy more because there's this purpose to it, other than just speculating on price. There's a reason for me to now hold OMI, and they're doing that. So we're going to see that. And then the other thing I really want to start seeing is some sort of burn, and because that's where I think that creates some more FOMO, because then I think there'll be another price pump when there's burns that start to happen again. And then there will be FOMO as people are like, I got to buy it before it gets too high, gets out of reach. I really struggled when the price started pumping. I was like, I think I need to buy more. Like, where's this going to go? And then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to chill for a little bit, right? Because typically it'll wick up and then it'll come back down. And then it did come down, and then I bought some more there. What's up? She's back.
Welcome back.
We missed you,
guys.
Queen VeVe. We missed you.
I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, like I was struggling with my internet with Foster's interview like a couple of days ago. It just technology is a pain sometimes. But regarding the question of where I think OMI can be like next year, man, I really think that like, see, and I'm gonna say like I think sometime in 2024, saying that there's no bull run or anything like that, I'm gonna say potentially like 1 cent. Or over 1 cent.
How come? Am I the only one who thinks there's going to be a big bull run next year with the rest of crypto?
Well, that's not typically what happens, right? You get the Bitcoin halving, and then it's after the halving. It's like several months after the halving.
I think it's about 6 months. Bitcoin halving in April, so it's sort of towards the end of next year. I think we're going to start hitting some big strides.
So here's the thing, and we could that. With the other crypto cycles and the pumps that have happened during all of the Bitcoin pumps, we've been in a money printing stage for like a decade, right? Crazy low interest rates, all of this cash everywhere. But now that's not the case this next coming Bitcoin halving, potentially, right?
I think they'll print money. I think they're going to keep printing money.
So if that happens, then I agree. So because they could do a reversal, right? Obviously, they've been raising rates because they want to kill inflation. But at some point, right, if that then kills the economy, then they're going to have to try to revive it, and they could turn on the money printer again. And if that happens, then I do see that pump happening. But if not, like I kind of talked about with commercial real estate and this massive repricing risk that we're going to be entering into at the end of this year into next year. So,
yeah.
But don't you think where the money is coming from is different, and that could be the difference? Meaning, if you have your Fidelities and your banks actually getting into it in the more conservative industries, you think that can make a change in who's buying it?
100%. And that's a great point, right? Because if we do get the Bitcoin ETF, all of a sudden, I think that there will be some massive cash that flows into that as some of these institutions to trade the Bitcoin ETF, like they have to buy Bitcoin. They have to hold Bitcoin. Right. So you're going to get some major institutions purchasing Bitcoin to do that. So that in and of itself is going to remove some Bitcoin from circulation with that, right? And there could be a massive pump. They could do it in stages so that they don't harm themselves as they're buying lots of the token. So there could be that. And then the other thing that I've continued to talk about as to why like other like hedge funds, and this was a long time ago, but Randy and Rain and I have talked about accounting. And I know that this gets boring for people, but accounting matters. And companies currently, with the way it's structured in the accounting regulations, basically, if Bitcoin dips, they have to write it down. But if Bitcoin goes back up, they don't get to write that back up. And so what happens is in their financial statements, it could look like they take a major loss when that's not necessarily the case, right? But then they have to explain in the notes, right? Like, hey, this is what's happened. We had to write this down and stuff. And it is accounting nightmare and a PR nightmare, when having to deal with the volatility of something like Bitcoin right now. So until if those accounting rules change, which I'm surprised that they haven't, because the Financial Accounting Standards Board actually said that they would look into this last year in February is when they said that. So it has been over 18 months and they haven't come out with an accounting pronouncement on that. So very interesting. But if you combine that institutional money with a change in the accounting, which I do believe is coming at some point, where Bitcoin can be marked to market, then it could get crazy. It could get crazy. So
Awesome. We've just got a little question here. Awesome stream here. Hey guys, awesome stream here. What are your thoughts on the roadmap of VeVe after the VeVe's launch? What direction do you think VeVe will go? Intensive gamification, heavy focus on AI, etc. Randy, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They'll continue doing what they're doing, and only right now a couple of, you had Gary Baseman with the utility. You've had obviously VeVe showing all of these Fortune 500 companies what they're doing at utility with the logo. So hopefully they get more people involved in that. That's just happens to be what Web3 likes. They don't care how much they have to pay as long as it has a little bit of utility. They're into it. So I think they'll do a little bit more of that. One of the things that you might see is a little bit of a shift where we've gotten in America, really used to 11 a.m. drops on Eastern Standard Time or 3 p.m. drops, but that's with mostly just the West and then Europe. And once you get Asia on board, and you're probably at one point going to have more Asians on here, people in the East, than people in both Europe and America, they'll probably cater to that, and you'll see drops at weird different times. And we're going to get some of the things that you've been experiencing, Jordan, over there in Australia, drops at like 3 a.m., 1 a.m., whatever. And some people that haven't gotten into this before that are just coming in, they're like, oh, why does Asia get all of it? Not knowing the history.
Maybe Randy, that's where they're trying to help ease that by rolling out the you'll be able to set it and forget it kind of thing, right? Because that'll make the sting a lot less worse for us if we could set it and forget it. So, then they're not going to alienate everybody else if they do that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, because I have to get up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. for the drops at the moment. That's why I miss line.
Right. So they're not doing it for you. They're doing it so whenever they change the times, they won't mess the US up.
Yeah, but so if I could get in, I would have gone to the drop for Lion King. So I definitely would be. I'd probably be using it on a weekly. I'd be spending a lot more money in VeVe if they had that feature.
That's
holding back cash coming in.
Point. That's a great point.
But I get you, Randy. That'll make it now, pretty much ease that for us over here in the US. We won't be so worried unless we want to sell it or do something right away in the market. We wake up, and if we get it, we got it. If not, continue.
I also think that some people might use the VeVe feed as like a message board, because you'd have to go before they go into the VeVeVerse. It's easier to just check the app. So I feel like people will be like, hey, I have some work. I have this whole bunch of land, 3 plots, however many skyboxes. Can someone come in and build it for me? I have no skill in that. And I feel like that's something that VeVe might evolve into, a little bit more social, a little bit more job listings, a little bit more, hey, here's a party, come with this collectible.
Randy, do you want to explain to Super VBK how Omi burns or will burn, some of the features?
Oh, wait, were you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Rain. I'm trying to make themselves. Yeah, so currently the burn from the reserve wallet doesn't necessarily matter because that's never going to go in circulating supply anyway. So they'll do it a bunch of different ways. The first way that they're going to do it as soon as we have OMI to waitlist tickets is obviously people are going to take their OMI. They're going to buy these waitlist tickets, which will help them secure a drop. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll get it, but every single OMI that's spent on these tickets are going to be burned. And then they open that gem liquidity pool, which when they first told us that they're donating 1 million gems into that pool, a company doesn't just donate $1 million for the heck of it for fun. That's going to be used very, very quickly. So people will go in, they'll take their OMI, they'll buy those gems in that liquidity pool. That OMI is going to be burnt, and then they could use those gems doing whatever. How that gem liquidity pool refills is whether it's crypto pay-in, whether it's cash out, any type of fees, whatever it is, those extra fees are used to go and buy gems, and then it's put into that liquidity pool. So it's constantly being refilled, and that's how a lot of people are going to go and burn from that OMI to gem. So as long as that stays filled, they'll do that. And they're also doing the 5.5 billion OMI from their OMI not their business development wallet, which I think has like another 20 or something billion in there as well. And I would expect to see more, because all of this that they're doing right now is in a bear market. OMI might get a little bit more, or VeVe might get a little bit more beneficent or generous as we enter that bull market, and suddenly we're not making 200,000 on a drop like we are today. They up the mint numbers and they make $1 million a drop or 2 million a drop. And when they do that, they're like, okay, we could just burn the rest of it. They have burn parties. They'll make an event out of it.
Yeah, and into also burning accessories will burn OMI. There's a bunch of other ways. There's probably a heap that we don't even know about yet. Rain, I've got a little statement here that you might want to finish off. So the total money in crypto is around 700 billion right now. Gold has 13 trillion. If Bitcoin is digital gold, we're going to get a lot more money in liquidity over the next 10 years. Crypto Rain, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a big argument, right? And of course, gold bugs say, no, it's not going to happen. But one of the challenges with gold is, number one, storing it is hard. You have to protect it, or you pay high custody fees for somebody else to protect it for you. And then moving it, right? So you can't move it from country to country without massive fees, without government interference. And so Bitcoin just has better properties than gold does. And people say, well, gold has been the standard for 7,000 years or whatever the number is. And the truth is, we don't really know how long it's actually been the standard for. Possibly even longer than 7,000 years. But that doesn't mean that can't change. And I don't see why Bitcoin doesn't take that as the new standard. And so it's definitely becoming a new asset class. And you hear BlackRock going around and talking about it and pushing their ETF so that they can make all the fees as people use their ETF. And BlackRock is more powerful than most of the countries in the world today. And so it's going to happen. And I think it should happen because it is transferable with you. Like, the rich can move between any country today easily, and they're going to prefer an asset like Bitcoin over gold that they can take with them anywhere they go. And so the rich and the middle class are going to be more mobile than they ever were before. And Bitcoin's going to help enable that, as well as other cryptocurrencies. So I think we're going to see market caps that people can't even fathom that are going to happen, because where gold's market cap is, they say, oh, if it were just to go to gold. I think the cryptocurrency market caps can hit numbers they should never hit, and yet they do. We saw that with XRP in 2017. XRP's market cap was like starting to approximate where Bitcoin's market cap was back then. And it was craziness. And XRP had a number like 360 with $3.60, which put its market cap in like the 300 million range or 300 billion range back then. So it was on its way to $1 trillion market cap back in 2017. So I think market caps, Tesla proved that sometimes market caps can get crazy compared to what people think can happen. And I think we will see that with cryptocurrency because it is a global asset. If you're in Malaysia, can you really buy Tesla stock or Apple stock? Very, very difficult. It's hard for people in the world to participate in that. But with cryptocurrency, anybody in the world that has access to internet pretty much can find a way to participate in it. And so these market caps are going to get outsized compared to where I think people think they can go.
And speaking of gold, I'll let you guys go in a second. This does go in that range. I sent my friend Kevin this a couple days ago. On August 15th, 2013, I posted, boom, silver, 2304. And on that same date, 10 years later, just a couple days ago, silver was like 2294. So in 10 years, it hadn't done a thing. It actually lost money. Yep. 10 years in crypto, oh my God, boom. I think as people start to slowly realize this, so much money is going to go out of these markets. I mean, even if 1% of the ETFs go in, whether it's BlackRock or whatever, 1% of like all those 16 trillion that all of them have, yeah, it's 160 billion just right there in one shot, and that's 1% of them.
Yeah, so for sure, for silver and gold haven't really done much over the last 10, 20 years. They're not keeping up with inflation at all, and that's something that Bitcoin can do. And I think it's going to be. I really do think Bitcoin might be the reserve currency of the world at some point, or something close to that. And if not Bitcoin, a different digital currency of some kind. Let's see.
Hold on. If you guys haven't watched, there's an interview that Michael Saylor does, who's obviously like a Bitcoin maxi, right? And he talks about why Bitcoin is so much better than gold. And Rain kind of hit on some of those. But basically he calls like Bitcoin like energy, and energy is valuable. We consume energy. Like we as humans need this energy, right? And he's like, but it's this energy that can be transformed into money, basically. And you can transport it anywhere. It's cross-border, all of the things that Rain kind of talked about. And but he just lays it out so succinctly that you're just like, I mean, that's like a really good argument. And I think investments a lot of times they take the path of least resistance, and as it becomes more mainstream and there's more protections like around, I still think that crypto space in general has to create better guardrails, especially for institutions, right? Because I've talked to some institutions and they're like, we have a cold storage wallet that's air gapped, right? And like we have all of these controls in place, and it's just the cost to protect the servers, right? Because someone can still manually come in, and like if they get that seed phrase, like they can download stuff, like there's things that they can still do, right? But like as long as there's more guardrails for institutions and like the general public, right, where they don't have to remember their seed phrase, or they can access their wallets if they forget their seed phrase or they lose their seed phrase. There's things that are being developed to try to help overcome that, to make it more widely adopted, but it's coming. And so like when you take that in combination with like, okay, the tech just has to catch up, but like the potential of Bitcoin and what it really could do, watching that video, I was just like, oh man, Bitcoin's got such crazy potential. And that's why this guy his company has bought billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
They're the number one holder, I think. They're the number one holder of Bitcoin now. Yeah. So Michael Saylor is dangerous. If you listen to him, you want to buy Bitcoin.
It's
very convincing.
Yeah, you say you listen to us and you guys want to buy OMI, which not financial advice. What we're saying, this is what we're doing. But like, you listen to Michael Saylor and you're just like, well, how much does Bitcoin cost right now? You see what I can buy. Like, pretty convincing.
So they just need like DNA proof. Like they just take a little, like your blood, like, they test just a little, just snip, boom, you're in. That's it.
That's right. Our panel right now here probably has close to 500 million OMI. So that's, we aren't just talking heads. We actually invest in what we're talking about. Not financial advice, of course, as Dr. Stuff said. We've got some
comments
about
stake. Randy, did you stake? Are you?
I've been staking for years.
I mean, okay. Dr. Stuff, did you like?
Not. I need to move it over. I was talking to Foster about that.
Okay.
I just got to move it over. But like, yeah, I'm gonna.
It's easy. It's easy.
10 million.
I did it. Took me 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Okay, so you're staked. So everyone's staked, but
me,
but you,
or like I don't know if Grain's stake, but yeah, I just need to move it over. But yes, my plan is to stake the 10 million. Yeah.
Yeah, mine isn't moved over, but I'll move over 10 million over to staking. So I haven't yet.
How many people do you think are going to stake? Like legit, do you think are going to stake? How many at least, the 10 million mark? What do you guys think?
People that care about being a master collector. And they could care for multiple reasons, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so
I say over 1,000. Over 1,000.
Over 1,000?
Yeah.
That's
10 billion OMI.
At these prices, we could probably get at least 1,000 people. Because right now, right at like 0008, what is that? $8,000 to get 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's doable for a lot of people, right? And so like the people who are like they want to get in at this price point, I think that there's more people who would be willing to get in. So I think it is like 1,000 people. It'd be interesting to know. Didn't someone already say that there was how much has been already
like
over?
500 million, I think.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that 500?
Let's hope they cut. They cut this. Remember, originally it was like 40,000, so they cut it down.
500 million is only 50 people.
So Lori, that's still on the table. This is just specifically for MCP points. We are going to get that OMI staking for other stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
It's a top tier. 10 million is a top tier, and they'll have lower tiers as well. We just don't know what they are yet.
Wait a sec. So here's a question then, because someone had asked us earlier in the chat about like, do you think that the OUP version 2, like what we're going to be getting, is going to be similar to, like, pretty much very similar? Because in the OUP version 2, there was a $40,000 threshold, which was interesting that now we have this 10 million OMI threshold, right?
Yes.
Do you think that I was under the assumption, or like the understanding, that 40,000 was gone and now it's going to be 10 million for
Me
this
too.
top staking tier? Is that not the case? There's still going to be a 40,000 one that's different?
I
That
thought
news
there
to me.
was.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm derping. Maybe I'm
I
tripping
think it's
here.
10 million now. Now it's 10 million only as the max.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
No, but these are assumptions that we're making. They have
No,
not.
I think it says it. I think it says it. And we
It
talked to
didn't in
other
the new
people.
article. The new
Yeah.
article didn't state that this is taking away from the old one.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's why I thought it was still there, because they didn't specifically state that it was taking that away.
But I will say this is what my understanding is, that OUP version 2 is doesn't really exist anymore, because
Yeah,
they're saying that we're
discontinued.
merged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically discontinued because they're merging it into this like loyalty program, right? And so that was my assumption. But you know what?
Okay.
If
So if
one
they
of
keep
us
it at 10
might be
million
able to reach
OMI,
out, right?
yeah, if they keep it at 10 million OMI compared to where it was, I think
But as soon
that's
as OMI does a 4x, it's going to cost more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
that's the
is.
thing. So the incentive is to try
We're
to
gonna
get
have it
it while
now.
it's cheap, right? Cheap
Gotta get it
labor.
now.
I don't really like that, because you have 10 million now is super easy to get, but this is going to obviously do a 10x at some point, but then it'll do another 10x from there. So 10 million OMI is going to cost someone $800,000. No one's going to be able to do that.
But
That's
that'll
not
be.
true.
But
Not
yeah,
true.
when
How many
season
people
0,
owned
right?
Bored Apes when they were at 800,000? A lot of people. Thousands of people were buying Bored Apes at $800,000, at $4 million, right? For some of
That's
the
a good
rare
point.
ones. So, but I agree. So I actually argued with Crypto Cosmo. He's one of my buddies. Like, we were talking about that, because I was like, no, they've got to tie it to a dollar amount, because what if you want to stake it? He's like, no, because what this will truly show is it will be a social flex to be like, I've got the 10 million staked and I'm an OG and did that. And then there'll be people who are like, I've spent the money to get the 10 million when OMI's at 5 cents or, whatever it's at, right? Like, so I at first was like, I do not like this. I do not like this. And then I'm like, actually, the more I think about it, the more it really makes sense. So we'll see.
Randy,
This is all assumptions.
and the other thing to think about, Randy, is that it's just for season 0, and they will adjust that number down significantly for the season 1. I think I don't know how long is a season 3 months or 6 months or a year? Does anyone know?
For VeVe, it's 6 months.
Okay, so maybe it's the same as VeVe. So maybe 6 months. So in 6 months, if OMI is 10 times the price, maybe they'll lower it by 10. So you just need 1 million OMI, right? And then season 2, they might make it 100,000 OMI, right? So by a factor of 10, maybe each time, depending on the price. So and that makes it gives people like 2 or 3 weeks in that time period to buy OMI that's going to stake it for the whole season. Does that make sense? Obviously, you can come and go when you like. But people that are going to maximize their points want to get early. Was that right?
It would be nice if they left that upper tier at 10 million, just so it doesn't put selling pressure on OMI. If they start decreasing the number, then people that have 10 million staked are being like, oh, why do I need 10 million anymore? Let me just sell 9 million of it, right? So I would prefer if they left, even if the rewards don't scale. So say they take it down to 1 million, but by having 10 million, you can get double of what you can have with 1 million. Then it's going to put less selling pressure as they maybe change those numbers as OMI price goes up.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I do like if they keep 10 million for at least like this whole bull run, right? They can lower it after the bull run. That's fine.
It's wild to think that, at 8 cents, 8 cents would be worth $800,000.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, right? So Randy is going to get a yacht and some other things he's been putting off in his life.
People keep saying I'm not a strong swimmer. I think Lori saw that at decon last year, San Diego Comic-Con. I can doggy paddle, but it's like about it.
I did.
They don't teach you in the military? They don't teach swimming at all?
If I were to, so when I went out for Battlefield Airmen, I had to go for like the 3 jobs that didn't require like the swim test because I would have failed.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. Okay, I get you.
That's
So there's
funny.
positions where you don't need to learn to swim.
There are a couple jobs, yeah.
Yeah, you're on the land. You're on the land.
He could swim. He could dog paddle. I mean, that's he could keep himself afloat in water. So I guess that's technically.
Lori, can you say water again, please?
Oh no! Why?
Now she's now nervous.
Water.
Okay.
What? What?
Water, mate. That's cool. Awesome. I've got to wrap it up in about 5 minutes, guys. So if we just want to go around like a round table and everyone, so leave everybody with your parting thoughts about what we've talked about today, VeVe, Omi, and staying cool-headed in this market. Rain, do you want to start?
Right. So, well, what do people say in order to do well in any type of investing? Buy low, right? And sell high. But what do most people do? Oh, well, the prices are low. I'm going to wait till they're high before I get interested. That's literally what they do. And so it's the smart people that are around that are dollar cost averaging. And I have a lot of friends, well, unfortunately, only several friends that are rich from the last bear market into the bull market because they stocked up like mad. They realized the pattern going on and they just were crazy. And they just kept putting money in when everyone else was telling them they were stupid and that they were dumb and Bitcoin and crypto and is going to zero and it's never going to survive. And then we had a bull market that follows the massive bear market and they made, 100x gains on average and we're multimillionaires from that. So I don't know. I like buying low so that I can sell high, but some people take a different approach. They buy high and try to sell higher, and that's good for them, but that's not what I do. So I love this type of market. Things are low. People are saying, oh, it's never going up. And I love to hear that stuff. That is music to my ears as an investor. That's what I love. And thank goodness people keep reinforcing to me that I'm in exactly the right place. Another big YouTuber on blockchain gaming, what is his name? I think it's On-Chain Gaming, capitulated, said he's going to start covering stocks because, crypto's so bad he doesn't want to talk about projects that might fail in 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, there goes another one, right? Like moving over to stocks. Are you kidding me?
I watch him. I watch On-Chain Gaming.
Yeah, I like the guy a lot.
Right?
He just is new. He doesn't understand cycles and he's capitulating at the bottom, which you see. And I like the kid, but he doesn't think like an investor. And he's dealing in a realm of investing and doesn't really understand the space he's in yet. But he'll learn. He's just young and inexperienced.
He's more of a content creator than an investor.
He's got a lot of views. He must know what he's talking about. And it's like you actually get a lot of views when you talk about things when they're way, way up, rather than talking about them when nobody's searching on them yet because the price is way undervalued. So the incentives are somewhat misaligned when you have a YouTube channel. You actually get rewarded about talking things after they pump massively because then you'll get way more views, way more subscribers, rather than talking about gems that are way, way down. But if you want your audience to do well, then you find and talk about gems when they're way, way down. And then when they go way, way up, well, then your audience did well along with you. But you will never get as big of a YouTube channel by covering stuff that's way down, even as it gets big. Because as it gets big, you stop covering it as much. Why? Because the gains are already made. Although, many of the people here, like they'll cover Omi when it's way down and they'll cover Omi when it's way, way, way up. So I like the risk profile on Omi. It's my favorite. Well, I have several favorites. Omi is by far one of my most favorites. And the only one I would go all in on if I believed in going all in on something. Shout out to Randy and Jordan, who's mostly all in on Omi. And Randy's not truly all in on Omi, just like 99.5% of his portfolio or something.
Yeah, I have a little bit of I have like $300 worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's about 75% for me on Omi.
Yeah,
that's 75%.
Cool.
Doctor of Stuff, did you want to give us your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, just in ending, like I'm so stoked on the people who are still here, and I think part of that is the community. People have hung around for the community, right? And because of the community, they've held on, and to my detriment, like some of the things that I've held on to, right, have decreased in value, and but I don't care because I see the future potential, and for me, like the risk reward is so substantial that first of all, I never have put in money that I can't afford to lose. So if it all went to zero tomorrow, all of it, not just my VeVe and Omi, but all of my other crypto, I'd be pissed. I'd be super pissed because I would question myself and say, what did I miss, right? Like, what happened? What did I miss out of all my analysis? But I can go to bed, sleep at night, whether Omi goes down 50% or it goes up 20%, like that's exciting, but it's a longer term vision for me. And it's awesome just to see the people who are here who are so excited about VeVe and the collectibles. And it's just, man, VeVe has just hit this perfect sweet spot of bridging new technology with nostalgia and emotion, and that just makes me bullish on it. And I'm excited to see where things go. And I'm just grateful for the friends that I've met along this way. Because like I said, I'm in a lot of other platforms and things, and I haven't made the friends. I don't go to other, I've been at some conventions and seen some people, and it's oh, hey, right. But I'm not yo, what are we all doing tonight? Randy, I'm coming out to New York. When are we chilling again? I love that stuff. And so I love this community. I'm just stoked to be here. So yeah, thanks to everyone. Like I say, I know that time is one of our most valuable resources, and you've given us some of that. And for that, I thank you.
Awesome. Laurie?
So from my point of view, I've been in for a little over 2 years now, and everything that was laid out, everything that the team said that they were going to do or they were going to work towards, they have done it. I remember when we were just hoping maybe we had Marvel, maybe just we might have had something in, a VeVeVerse. And there's so many things that have come to fruition with the VeVe side. But I think it's also important to understand that, what's driving that is Omi, or ultimately what will drive that is the Omi token. So, this isn't just a token that doesn't, have any utility whatsoever. As we see the development of VeVe, and as they make, $100,000, $200,000 on these different drops, they're doing things to make it better, such that I think eventually Omi's going to get incorporated into this ecosystem, and it's all going to work as planned. Maybe next 2-3 years. I think it's going to be a pretty smooth operation between the collectible side and the collectors, as well as the Omi token being utilized in lots of ways. So
awesome.
That's what I think is coming.
Agreed. I think that one of the things that hasn't been talked about, or the leaderboards have been talked about, speculating when are we going to get those, but not exactly the way. Yeah, we've been talking about the individual, like the name on the back. Oh, Chavez is, top 400 wallets. The guy that just commented, Earn Mouse, and top 100 wallets. But what we haven't really talked about, because we track everything, is what happens when Asia comes on, and then it'll go by country. There's going to be people digging and say, oh, Asia has 10 billion Omi staked. Well, it's going to be a fight to see which country has it. And the reason I bring this up is because I was doing a stream, my friend's wedding a year and a half ago. And Candace and Jeff Evan had been super chatting a little bit, and hey, cheers from Australia. And then somebody, a good friend of mine, says Brandon's going to get more money from America tonight. And then super chats $100. And it's just one of those super small things that is want America to go on top. And extrapolate that. That's going to happen on a global scale. On Earth 2, I was really upset that I didn't get the tiles that the Statue of Liberty was on. 2 guys from South Korea, which South Koreans are insane. They go up to a country, they buy all the good stuff, and they leave. They go to the next one. They got the Statue of Liberty. I'm not making that same mistake again if we have something, let's say, that's related to Disney in the VeVeVerse. We have something that's cool, even if it's not something that's going to have a great ROI. There's been people like me and myself, or me and people like me, that are going to buy it just to keep it in American hands, just to say no, this isn't going to Australia, your country over there. That'll happen. and that's a really good fight. The more that happens, the more OMI that gets locked up, the more OMI that gets burned, the more land that gets bought. Once you have these amazing sales, I don't want to sell any of my logos, but if I get like a 6-figure offer for it, those I remember. I didn't want to call you out, Ernie, in case you want to stay private, but if somebody gives you like 6-figure offer for those logos, I don't want to sell, but that's going to be a really good headline for VeVe. It's going to be a really good headline for OMI. Like if I can do that, and let's say this was purchased with gems that was bought with OMI, that's just a good headline.
So Real Randy Chavez buying up the VeVeverse. That's what we're finding out.
Yeah, I mean, once we're able to buy land with OMI will have at least done a 10x, if not like a 20 or 50x. If we don't get land until 2025, it could very well, do that 100x before then. At that point, okay, land has a much easier chance of doing a 10 or 100x than OMI does. So yeah, be damn sure that I'm going to spend a ton of my OMI for that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming, guys. Crypto Rain, Dr. Stuff, Queen VeVe, and the Real Randy Chavez. Make sure you check them all out on the socials, guys. Really, really had a lot of fun today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week.